reason I got involved in trading initially was, of course, as most people do, because of the money, because of the hype, the success, the Lamborghinis.
What would you say has been your most struggling moments?
One thing I definitely struggled with is
Today's guest is a trader who has struggled with inconsistency, the fear of missing out, and the emotional ups and downs that come with trading. They've faced hope without a clear plan, the frustration of repeated losses, and the overwhelming desire to finally make a breakthrough.
one major piece to my puzzle that was missing for many, many years that I've only put in place now and it's now beginning to start to come to fruition is the if I do this, I won't only be depressed, but I'll only dig a deep hole for myself. I'm hopeful with no system in place, with nothing.
That was it. Fear of missing out, fear of losing money, fear of leaving money on the table. And you're gonna be angry because you lost the profit you could have walked away.
I definitely say feel liberated.
Are you an emotional trader?
It's going to be an interesting conversation today with an individual I have so much respect for and very honest person as well. So you guys are going to enjoy this conversation. It's not going to be about what you want to hear, but about the real stuff that goes on in the industry, especially in the minds of retail traders. Now, Will, how are you doing today?
I'm blessed now that I've seen you, mate.
Okay. I mean, are you ready for today's conversation?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm definitely ready, and I'm open to finding out what we're going to discuss as well.
Bro, we're going to be talking about your mind. But before we go in, can you tell people a little bit about yourself? You were a trader. How long have you been trading? Who are you as an individual right now that is trying to be the trader? I don't know if I'm making sense. So, your trading life and your actual life, they mirror each other. So who are you? And how have you merged that with your trading career?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you. Thanks. First of all, thank you very much for allowing me to jump on this. And it's an honor to be here. So my name is Willis Arome. In fact, I'd say we're a day into October. So October's tomorrow at the time of this recording. And it will be 4 years that I started trading, actually, exactly tomorrow. So,
wow,
for 4 years anniversary, it's exciting times for me. And the reason I say that in this way is because, it took me this long through various attempts, experiences, mentorship, of course, which I value so much, to really add the pieces of the puzzle together in terms of formulating a plan and a system and something that's allowed me to become a lot more consistent than I was about 4 years ago. And the reason I got involved in trading initially was, of course, as most people do, because of the money, because of the hype, the success, the Lamborghinis, what you can actually buy, what you can actually achieve with the money that you can make in the markets. But I think something different that differs a lot from many retail traders, apart from just being rich, is I definitely wanted to support my family and put them in a better position. Hence why I started and I continue to pursue it in a slightly different route than most people. So of course, most people it's about the money, but for me, I wanted the stability, and most importantly, I wanted the knowledge and the growth. And if I was to ever teach somebody how to trade because of, I have made this money, I want to help somebody else do the same. I wanted to do from a place of knowledge and not just a place of wishful thinking and, you just need to copy. Does that make sense? So I definitely wanted to do it properly so that if ever, of course, I never wanted to become an educator, but if ever I was to direct somebody, I'm doing it from a place of knowledge and understanding. And so that's basically my journey 4 years in. And I'm actually really excited for what's about to happen the next coming years. God willing.
In that 4 years, what would you say has been your most struggling moments?
Yeah, great question as well. So, I've already mentioned that knowledge was one of the main things that I wanted to get out of it's one of the main things. If you had to divide it into pillars, I'd say that's one of the main pillars. I didn't want to just be a part of the process. I wanted knowledge, but I got to a point where I did have that knowledge. I did have that understanding, and probably about maybe, 3.5 years in, I definitely realized that, okay, great. Knowledge exists, but the saying that says knowledge is power. Of course,
yeah,
we all know there's a half truth to that. The full truth to that is applied knowledge is power.
Right.
So I did learn a lot of the things. I understood it. I did apply a lot of the things, but I didn't apply them consistently. And then oftentimes I'd find myself being consistent maybe for a week. You know, the week you get a good week of runs, a week of wins. You get a bit excited.
Right.
Like, okay, yep, this strategy is going to be gold. I'm going to be getting 80% win rate. My risk reward is going to be X, Y, and Z. And then you later on realize you come to a stumbling block. And of course, I found it hard to get over that block of the consistency. I think one thing I'll definitely struggle with is the consistency and that mental fortitude to just continue. And also go through the losses. I think if I had to pinpoint one other thing, it'd definitely be the losses. I would see maybe 3-4 losses as a bad thing instead of a good thing, because you have to go through a season of losses. And those are definitely the things I'll say I struggle with.
What is the perception you have about consistency? Now, when we say a trader is a consistent trader, what do you think that means?
Yeah, so a trader, first of all, has to follow the plan. You have to have a plan to begin with. And you have to, as we say, plan the trade and trade the plan. I think for a long time, I'm somebody who wants the plan to look like an artwork. It looks perfect. It looks a particular way. I follow the structure. But the reality is you just need a plan. You need, even if it takes just a few bullet points, just write it down, write it out, and then follow it accordingly. If you may want to add a few things to it, then great. But just have the plan to begin with. And then now, just remaining consistent regardless of the outcome. I think when you detach yourself from the outcome of winning and losing, you already know it's a process and you just need to follow the process for a set period of time.
Now, you spoke about detachment here, and that is where a lot of retail traders are struggling with, because if you are not able to detach yourself from your trades before you trade, then every single decision will come out of emotions. Now, how long did it take you before you started to realize the things you are saying now? And did it affect or impact your trading results?
When I say the pieces to the puzzle, one major piece to my puzzle that was missing for many, many years that I've only put in place now and it's now beginning to start to come to fruition is the journaling part. I can have the system, the best win rate, the best strategy, but the journaling part was always the key that was missing. And I've now added that, and I feel like I'm getting to a point where my system is complete and systemizing itself on a day-to-day basis. I now go to my desk, I have a system, I finish my time, and I go about my day. And according, to my family life, of course, I'm a husband and a father. I've now been able to adjust from just being a trader. A trader, realistically, a trader works in the back, if you really think about it. A retail trader, of course, has a laptop and, all the other things. But if you think about what a trader is, I'm now very careful as to how I say I'm a retail trader or I'm a trader. Does that make sense? I'm somebody who does trade, but, oftentimes I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm a trader. I have been trading for some time. I trade. I know and understand financial markets, but being a trader, a financial analyst is something, it's a big deal. It's something that many people they put a title on their Instagram handle and they trade all of a sudden. I'm very big down on that. And nowadays my mindset has completely shifted to something that's a bit more mature, if you understand.
A lot of retail traders have not come to the reality of journaling yet. This is what is happening in the industry and why a lot of people are still finding it difficult to grow. You just said something right now that your maturing stage started happening when you started journaling. Now, would you say that some of the things that you were going through as a trader, some of the things that you didn't believe in back then are the same things that you are believing in now, that if you could have believed in earlier, it would have helped you way faster to become the trader you want to become?
To answer your question, definitely, I'll definitely agree. If I knew what I knew now, maybe 4 years ago, maybe within a year. And also bear in mind, my 4-year journey has also taken quite a few breaks for the simple reason that one of the key factors that you even taught me as well along the journey is you said this on the podcast already. You mirror your trades, or your life and your trading are aligned. So in other words, part of my maturing was I understand that in order for me to successfully place trades, I have to do it from a perspective of I'm mentally okay. And oftentimes when I realized I needed to step back was because my life was a bit chaotic. And I said, you know what? Basically, if I do this, I won't only be depressed, but I'll only dig a deep hole for myself. And I didn't want to dig that deep hole. So I said, before I dig a hole for myself, let me step back, mature, take some time to, just do it a little bit better. Of course, and it's still a journey now.
The part of the conversation that, it's a little bit deeper than we are doing now. We're about to talk about the psychological side of your skill sets. We talk about trading psychology a lot. And one thing I always tell retail traders is that trading psychology is what is happening to you when you are trading and the feelings you have when you are trading.
Yeah.
In one word, how would you define your mental state?
I've got a few words, but I'm looking for the best one to compile both of them or three of them together to give you the best one. So I'll definitely say...
You can give us a hybrid.
A hybrid, yeah?
Yeah, give us a hybrid. Give us all the three. Let's write them down.
I'll definitely say I feel liberated. So liberated is one
Liberated.
Yeah.
Liberated. Freedom.
Yes.
Okay. The second one?
The second one is optimistic.
Optimistic.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the third one?
Liberating, optimistic, and happy.
And happy.
Yeah.
I don't normally hear this.
Yeah.
Okay, so you are free, you're optimistic, and you are happy. And you are basically just telling me all these three things are connected to one thing is because of clarity and knowledge, would you say?
Yes.
Okay. Are you an emotional trader?
Not anymore.
What changed?
It's definitely the journaling. I don't know how long
Okay.
I'm going to probably mention this today, but I could not raise the importance of this much more than right now, because it's something that I knew. Maybe I've heard of journaling, but maybe for a year consistently, it's like something in the back of my mind kept on telling me, okay, this is great, but you need to journal. This is great, but you need to get your thoughts on a sheet of paper. This is great, but you need to get your trades or your data in order consistently. Okay, great, I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, okay, no problem. I'm speaking to myself as I'm telling you this. I'm speaking to myself.
Right.
For a year, maybe a year and a half, I never got around to do it. I just don't know why. I just don't know why. I was just like, okay, you need to do it. You need to journal. You need to get your thoughts onto paper. I just didn't do it. And
Right.
I just thought, yeah, you know what? I'll do it when I get a good win rate, or I'll do it when my life is stable. But do you know what the important thing is getting your thoughts onto a sheet of paper. And then what you realize is that journaling is so powerful because you can do it. It's not just about trading. It's about everything else in life. It's about getting your feelings on the sheet of paper, getting your thoughts on the sheet of paper. Of course, something that I'm big on is making sure that whatever I study, whether I'm reading the Bible, for instance, or if I'm studying a book, that's why when I say one of the feelings I have is being happy or being liberated, I no longer hold these things in me. I'm getting them all out, and I know that it's only just a matter of time before other things come to fruition.
So, not anymore an emotional trader, thank God. But what is the one emotions you struggled with during your beginning days?
Yeah, I mean, you said it already, emotions.
Okay, so what types here? Because I'm trying to really understand what type of emotions that you were dealing with as a trader. Was it fear of missing out, fear of losing money? Oh, fear of leaving money on the table. Big one for retail traders. I don't know if that was yours as well, but tell us, what was really the number one, in terms of high level of being all over the place. The reason why I'm asking this is because I hope part of your journaling was an emotional journal as well. Because a lot of people do journal, but they only journal technical aspect of the trading, which is, I took a trade, I hit stop loss yesterday, TP here, blah, 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 blah. But what about your emotional journaling?
Okay, I'll definitely say FOMO was number one. The reason why I said hopeful as well is because me being hopeful was me being quite resilient enough to know, okay, I've taken my losses. I understand that the losses are part of the game. I am hopeful in knowing that it's just a matter of time. But the reason why that was a big deal for me, as an emotional flaw for me at the time, was because yes, there's nothing wrong with being hopeful, but when you are hopeful with no system in place, with nothing, what does the hope actually lead to? Does that make sense? So for me, I'll definitely say FOMO was number one. FOMO has led me to some pretty dark places. Pretty dark.
Okay, you connected your FOMO to a trading community. Let's talk about that. Trading community, bro. When you say trading community, can you describe it and how it affected your trading? Let's start with the cons first. The negatives aspect of how your trading community affected you.
No, this is really good structured question here. I love trading communities. Don't get me wrong. I really do love it. I love it in a sense that the whole idea of having a community is in the word community. You're having a community because community means you can share experiences with one another. You can help somebody who's brand new and you can lift them up. You can hold their hand through the process. Unfortunately, with the trading communities is, I'll definitely go far to say this, it's more 80% unrealistic oftentimes, because the majority of people are just not cut out. And the reason I say it in this way is because if you think about it in life, in any industry that you get to, even if you're in sales, you're in a sales company selling insurance, there's always a minority that make the most money.
Yeah,
that's why I'll definitely say all the trading communities is great, but I think oftentimes if you're not careful and you're not emotionally aware, if you don't have a plan as to what you actually want to achieve with trading, oftentimes it will become such a big distraction, and you're not careful. You'll spend 6 to 18 months being distracted about being hopeful with no plan in place whatsoever.
Right now, because the conversation is getting much more deeper, and I believe everybody who is watching this right now, you should be able to learn something from this conversation. Let's say, for example, you pick revenge trading, which, by the way, that is something you have experienced before. Okay. So if you pick revenge trading is formed by two basic emotions, anger and regrets. For example, you've had a good run. You had 3 wins during London session, and you were supposed to stay away because you've hit your target. Now, you didn't stay away. Then you came back again during New York session, and you wanted to make more money. But then you didn't make more money. Then you lost your profit you had earlier during London session. What do you think is going to happen to you emotionally? You are first of all going to regret you took the trade during New York session. And you're going to be angry because you lost the profit you could have walked away with during London session. Now, if you are not careful now, the regrets is plus the anger is going to form revenge trading. It's going to trigger that habit and start letting you do something you didn't want it to do. So these emotions, the goal of them is to hijack your decisions so that you shift from being logical to being an emotional, impulsive trader at that moment. And as I said, the market itself, right, have structures in place to trigger those emotions, because the market naturally is moved by emotions. And so I tell people all the time, the big boys, they get emotional, and you, the retail trader, you also get emotional. So the emotions are happening in the market all the time. The only difference is that when we are emotional, it affects our pocket, the retail traders. And then when the big boys are emotional, it affects the market. So everybody is emotional. The question now becomes, where is it affecting? Is the loss aversion that makes retail traders remove their stop loss if it's almost about to get hit, even though they told themselves, I'm going to get out of this trade when it gets to this direction. Loss aversion is one of the most powerful cognitive biases that is making retail traders making mistakes over and over again. Would you say that in your career, in your experience, what is the most troubling cognitive biases that kept on hindering your success?
Yeah, good question. I think loss aversion, even for me, is the biggest one, because I think even for a long time, I avoided wanted to take a loss. So there was even a season in my trading period where I was back testing. And when I was back testing, this is how crazy it gets, because I was back testing in such a way that if I was meant to lose that particular trade so that I can record the data, I'll make sure that I win, because in my mind, I told myself that I'm doing like a live demonstration, right? So
Yeah.
even my back testing was very unrealistic. Can you imagine? So
Right.
every time I'd place a trade, I'm like, oh yeah, this one looks like it's a loss. So if I did this, then I would have changed the outcome. Not knowing that in the live market, you can never even dictate the outcome. And not even all of these trades that you back tested is a guarantee.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
loss aversion, and then I go to the I trade live, whether I went funded or I go live account on my personal broker. The same thing applies. I'm trading almost as if I don't want to take a loss, and there's even times where I should be forward testing just for the sake of outcomes, so that I can, test myself and my emotions. But in my mind, I'm thinking I don't want to trade today because I'm scared of what will happen. And then when I do trade, I'm managing the outcome. Even things such as bad habits, like I will close trades early, or the trade is meant to go full TP, and I close it at 25 because I'm thinking, yeah, you know what? I never lost the trade, so I'm happy. Not knowing that the whole reason for me to take this particular trade was so that I can see it go to the maximum profit, just so I can see the range based on the style of trading that I was trading at the time anyway. So loss aversion is definitely a big one for me, definitely a big one. But like I said, I've come to an understanding that, look, the reason why you do things is so that you can just follow the process. And delayed gratification is big. You have to have delayed gratification, especially with this kind of game, because if you're doing it just for the money is a byproduct of it, but the money is only a byproduct of somebody who's very disciplined, who's hardworking, and that shows up consistently every single day. And that's what I've come to a knowledge of and understanding of.
So the check-in psychology results came through, and Cliff believes Willis faced several key challenges. First, Willis struggled with inconsistency, largely driven by fear of missing out and an emotional attachment to the outcome of his trades. His hope for quick success, without a structured plan, often led to frustration and repeated mistakes. Psychologically, Cliff identified that Willis was letting emotions like fear, frustration, and hope control his decisions, rather than following a disciplined process. This made it difficult for him to detach from his trades and view losses as part of the learning journey. To achieve long-term success, Cliff advised Willis to focus on mastering emotional control through journaling and self-awareness. By detaching from the outcome and sticking to a solid plan, Willis can improve consistency and make more rational, disciplined decisions in the market. Thank you for joining us on the Cheq-In Podcast. If you found today's analysis helpful, make sure to share and subscribe for more insights on trading psychology. See you next time.